Good day, hello. Are you part of a university team or training center that is trying to get the best out of its assessment program? Well, my name is Jimmy Lepping. I am a psychologist and statistician with an interest in a wide variety of research topics, including teaching, learning, and assessment. And in this video, I discuss the concept of progress testing and explain how it can help to allocate assessment resources in a more effective and more efficient manner. So here you see the growth curve of a hypothetical medical student who in the first 4 years of the program completed 4 progress tests, and a total of 16 progress tests across the 4-year time window. All progress tests cover topics from the full content of the first 4 years of the program and are comparable in difficulty, such that increases in score from one test to the next can reasonably be understood as progress. Each progress test consists of around 200 multiple choice questions, each of which can result in a correct response, an incorrect response, or no response. And the whole set of questions results in a score that at the end of the 4-year period should clearly exceed 50. Clearly meaning that the 90% confidence interval should be entirely above 50. One of the functions of a confidence interval is that it expresses which null hypothesis would be rejected at a given statistical significance level, which for a 90% confidence interval means two-sided, a 10% statistical significance level, or here one-sided 5% statistical significance level. The null hypothesis in this case is 50, which is below the 90% confidence interval, and therefore part of the set of null hypotheses that we can reject, and therefore the candidate passes. Now, the choice for the 90% instead of the 95% confidence interval is to some extent personal preference. Both choices can be justified depending on the role of the progress test in an assessment program. As I explain in this book that I published 4 years ago with Springer, to me, progress testing is one part of the assessment program or one thematic line in the assessment program. Other lines in the program will cover clinical and practical skills, scientific competencies, and other themes that are considered important in the program. Candidates whose competence is not yet at the required level will normally be detected by either the progress test and or at least one other part of the assessment program, and this is one of the reasons why I am comfortable using a 90% confidence interval for decision making in any specific part. Next, we see a candidate who has not managed to reach 50, yet the confidence interval does include 50, indicating insufficient evidence to reject the null hypothesis of 50. And for candidates with such a performance, I would organize an additional exam to collect more evidence regarding this candidate's current level and see if the 90% confidence interval after that additional exam still includes 50, or it is entirely above 50, meaning pass, or entirely below 50, which would mean fail and repeat a year, or at least a remediation trajectory of some kind before being allowed to progress. The same story would hold for this type of candidate who does demonstrate a performance just above 50 in 2 of the last 3 tests, but not to such an extent that the 90% confidence interval excludes 50. In other words, here too we have insufficient evidence to reject the null hypothesis of 50, meaning this type of candidate should also proceed to the exam. Now, returning to candidate A, this type of candidate would not need to participate in that additional exam that candidates B and C would have to participate in. In a few earlier videos on my channel, I discussed the concept of sequential testing or sequential assessment and explained that candidates who are clearly above or clearly below the expected level should not need to participate in all assessment activities because we can reach the conclusion that their competence is clearly above or clearly below the expected level with fewer assessment resources than is the case for candidates whose level of competence is closer to the expected level. For candidate A, the 16 progress tests have provided a good guide regarding their knowledge progress throughout the 4 years of the program, and there was no need to invest more assessment resources to assess whether this candidate performs at least at the expected level. And although in this video I discuss the concept of progress testing in the context of multiple choice assessments, this concept can be applied also to clinical and practical skills assessments or to scientific competencies as well, for instance. Now, from a metacognition perspective, the concept of progress testing is a very powerful assessment tool, not only for staff, but equally for the candidates who are assessed, as it provides insight into a candidate's evolution and what kind of activities can be undertaken to improve. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope you find it useful. And if you have any ideas or suggestions for future videos, feel free to leave a comment below this video or contact me via the email address that I have put in the description below this video. Thank you for listening and see you soon.